welcome to the Disagreeable Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, Gabi. This is my friend, Deej.
Hola.
And we just got through watching episode 1 of season 2 of Stranger Things. Basically, it continued on from season 1 of Stranger Things. If you're a fan of Stranger 1, you probably like Stranger Things season 1. You probably like Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah.
At least the opening episode.
Definitely.
So, Stranger Things, season 1, I was a big fan. Of course, it's pretty popular because of the nostalgia, the 80s effect. The music is very good. The opening sequence, the credits. But what do you like about Stranger Things season 1, Deej?
I agree with everything you just said. The characters are really good. They all are relatable, I guess you could say, even though it's in a very science-y fiction, thriller, horror genre. Everything about the episode, the setting is really good. The theme, in general, I'm just a really big fan of anything that is kind of a horror thriller type thing. But it spoke to me. Horror.
Not horror.
Yeah, horse. Yeah, like I said, I didn't grow up in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s. I watched a lot of 80s.
When were you born?
94.
94. Okay, so you did not exist in the 80s.
Yes, but I did watch a lot of 80s stuff growing up.
Okay.
Because, I mean, like now, it's in
You're
the
a Star Wars
2000s.
fan?
Yeah, I love Star Wars.
Got you.
So, yeah, everything in it just made me feel really, really warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, although I was born in 77, I was alive in the 80s. I wasn't these, like Mike and Will on all their age. You're probably, 13, 14?
Yeah.
12, 13, 14?
Probably so.
I was 12, 13, 14 around 1990. So the nostalgia, I appreciate. I understand it. I like it. But I was a kid of the 90s. But yet I still like it. So I guess the 80s thing kind of just, you like it no matter what age you're from. Because it's a simpler time. You think about the old, the Ataris, the little walkie-talkies they're talking into, the Rubik's Cube, Millennium Falcon. They do Star Wars there with the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of it's the music. The music's real. The music really gets you.
Yeah, Gabi's a big soundtrack fan.
The synthesizer they use gets me right where it needs to be.
Definitely.
So, Stranger Things, season 1. Probably, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen it. It's one of the biggest shows that's probably ever been on Netflix. It's like a mega hit for Netflix. So
I would say it is.
Stranger Things season 1, exceptional show. Got a girl with X-Men-like powers, abilities in 11.
Oh, yeah.
So, theoretically, spoiler alert. Okay, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Stranger Things season 1,
You're dumb.
you shouldn't be listening. Okay, sidebar question. What do you feel about spoiler alerts? How do you feel about spoilers? Do they bother you?
They do if I'm really excited about a show and the spoiler completely ruins the plot or the storyline of that episode. I would probably get angry about it. Yeah.
Has anything been spoiled for you?
No, mostly because I watch things usually as quickly as they come out. So
Okay. I listen to a radio show out of Austin just because I'm a truck driver. I listen to lots of podcasts. And he's always like, anytime they start talking about, they'll watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but they'll start talking about Game of Thrones. And he says, spoilers. And it's like from 2 years ago.
yeah, if it's from more
Do
than
you have like a time length that you're like, okay, I don't care about spoilers?
It'd probably be within the first month because after that, yeah, most people should have seen it by
Yeah,
then.
a month. I think that's good.
2 years
A month.
is way too far out there.
2 months, 2 years, forget about you.
Yeah.
You're
should have
stupid.
already-
If you haven't seen it
definitely
yet, you should have seen it by now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Stranger Things came out, a year ago?
2015?
At least a year ago? I think they said since the last episode stopped, it's almost been a year since this episode.
Okay.
Stranger Things
then. Okay.
episode 1, season 2.
I guess it just seems like a long time waiting.
So, Stranger Things season 1 come out at least a year ago. So with that in mind, 11, the character 11 off Stranger Things, she appears to have X-Men like powers. She flipped that van. But when she uses these abilities, she bleeds through the nose. Is she a product of the energy company? Is she a product of the, what do they call it?
Upside down?
Upside down? Where does she come from? What's your theory?
I believe she's just a child that was abducted and has been experimented on, judging by, well, I mean, are we talking about episode 1 so far?
Yeah.
I mean, are we going into it?
Yeah, we'll go into it. Stranger Things, season 2, episode 1, spoiler alert. It hasn't been a month.
Okay. It's been a day. Well, spoiler alert is out there. Judging by the fact that there's obviously more than one, there's 8. That means there's definitely at least 11.
I completely forgot about that opening sequence.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I believe she's just a child that's been abducted and been experimented on. Character had
she is 11.
Almost exactly the same powers, except for the fact that when she did something we thought she did, like blow a bridge up, it was actually she was just affecting that person's mind, which was an interesting change, I think, from 11's power set. But yeah, I believe she's just a child that's been experimented on, and that's as far as we know so far.
I did not catch that.
Yeah,
I know they showed the bridge, but it was just in that one dude's brain.
Yeah, it blew up, and then he's like, "Why did you stop the car?" And they got out, and the bridge was perfectly intact.
Wow, I did not realize, because I saw them show the tunnel that they went through. Okay, so Stranger Things season 2, episode 1 starts off with a bank heist. Spoiler alert. Okay, if you haven't seen it by now, if you're a super fan, you probably watched it by now. So we'll go from here. There's apparently an 8. She had a 008 tattooed on her arm, and she said "boom" in her brain, and the tunnel appeared to collapse,
but it was just all in that guy's mind.
It was apparently just in that one guy's head.
Yeah, the lead cop car driver, which caused a chain reaction for all the cars to crash.
I got it now.
And she also appeared to know ahead of time by telling the driver where to turn.
With 11 in season 1, she did flip that van.
Yes, so most of the time, 11's powers are shown just to be a telekinetic power set. I mean, that's basically all she has, except for when she might be floating or hooked up to a machine that can let her into, I don't know what you would call another dimension type thing with, radio waves, and
she can see into the
upside down. We have yet to see as far as 8 power set, but it's different so far.
So 11 of 11, at least. We have with us another guest, my friend Sharday. She's a big fan of Stranger Things. Do you have something to say? Do you have something you want to share?
I was just thinking about when y'all were talking about how 11 could go into other dimensions, and I was just thinking, remember, she actually created that dimension with her powers.
Well, we know that she might have just maybe opened the portal to that dimension.
Or that.
But yeah, it could have been she created it. We don't know yet.
True. She's like, it was my fault. I did it. That's all I was just thinking.
So like she created the rift in the dimensions.
Yeah, something like that.
The big gooey hole that's in the energy plant.
Yeah.
You think 11 did that?
I think she did it, yeah.
Did they decide that in season 1?
I think she said she did, under the stress from the experiments.
Yes.
It just opened up that portal, ripped open a hole between the dimensions. But, like I was saying earlier, not on this podcast, but just, to you, it's been said that maybe the Demogorgon is just a mirror image of her, just in the Upside Down's version, that maybe they're both connected somehow. So, yeah, it could have been that she created that dimension. We don't know yet.
So we got the first glimpse of people with other powers besides 11.
Was not expecting that, actually.
We heard her name 11. That's a number, so you might go to think that, well, okay, there's 10 before her. Well, we just got introduced to one of them, number 8, in the opening sequence of season 2, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Will we see her again? That will be, I guess, something we'll see in the future. We don't know. We don't know what's left out there. So then we get through with the bank heist scene. Where does it go from there? My mind is short.
I was thinking it went just to them at the arcade.
A new character comes up, Max.
Yeah, they're getting their money for the arcade. To get to the arcade.
Was that when we are in the arcade?
Well, the name
it was-
appears.
Oh, that's a little bit later, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought about that just because the
you-
title of the
Mad
episode
Max.
is called Mad Max.
Mad Max,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, you
So her name appears in the arcade. She's beat their score, so she's better than them. I'm not really understanding why the episode was called Mad Max. I mean, she was featured in it. I didn't understand why that might be the main title because
Maxine.
she wasn't the
Was that her name, Maxine?
she wasn't the biggest character in that episode. So I'm not really. I don't agree with the name of the title episode.
She probably is going to play a really big part.
Deceiving title?
I think she's going to play a big part in the future episodes.
Yeah.
So do you not care for deceiving titles of shows?
No.
Okay. Deceiving title, perhaps. Mad Max. That was the name of the girl that scored the highest on the game machines. Dig Dug and what else? There was a couple of... Dragon Lair.
Yeah, there you go.
I remember that being an amazing game because it was like cartoon effects, which is way better than 8-bit effects. So I was like, that's really good. I think they just had them preset like the actions they do, and you just push a button and maybe it did or maybe it didn't. Anyway, so some more nostalgia. So this is a question I have for you. And this is something I discussed with another friend of ours, Jerry. He likes to say that this show depends too much on nostalgia, music, and not enough storyline. He says it's a weak show in those regards. He likes it. He doesn't know why, but he likes it. It says it's mostly just nostalgia driven.
I would have to disagree. There's a lot of things in there that are nostalgia based, but I don't think the story relies on it. And nowhere in the storyline am I saying, "Oh, it's really dependent on those arcade games right there." This episode wouldn't be as good without that movie clip or that wallpaper in the background. The story isn't based on that for me.
I think the story, also something he tossed in there was the fact that you have kids in movies, which is true. You think about Goonies, think about Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg likes to use kids. E.T., you put kids in a movie, that automatically gives you this sense of like, I want to take care of them. I want them to be okay. It's just an automatic emotion that's involved in these children. And plus they're funny. So they're like, oh, these are kids that are funny. It's a good show. No need for story. I disagree. But I've heard that before and I can see that be true.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see that too. That doesn't rely on that nostalgia thing. I believe it's just inherent human nature for us to care for a child in danger. Which, yeah, like you said, they're funny, so you care about them anyway. But yeah, the nostalgia thing is just an added plus for me. The kids caring for them, thinking about the Goonies and all that stuff, yeah. But I mean, it's not like they are cloning it because it's not a copyright thing.
No,
I mean, kids in movies isn't like only this person can do that.
Yeah, I agree. These kids all have personalities of their own. So you have these 4 children, all about early teenage years, probably. They all have good personalities. Mike, of course, starting season 2, he's concerned about 11. He's trying to find her. Dustin is same old Dustin, still cussing up a storm.
I love Dustin.
Lucas really, don't really get much of Lucas really this first episode.
I would say he's a little bit more in there this time. I believe he and Dustin are kind of be fighting against each other for Max's attention, and I could kind of see that they were playing into that a little bit. Lucas was used in season 1 a little bit too. He was kind of that friend that was.
He was the cynical one.
Yeah, he was against everything that was going on. But in this one, I can see how he might have a little bit of a lighter storyline this time.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, children, in movies, in TV shows, we care for them. We want them to be okay. But to say that that's just a plot device, you have to have good actors that make you actually care for them. Because I've watched movies where I didn't care for the kids, whether they lived or died. I didn't care for them. But these kids are good actors, and you care for each and every one of them. They all have distinct personalities, and they're good. Especially 11. What's her name? Sade?
Her name is 11.
Oh my
No,
God.
the
No,
actress.
the actress.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown. I just asked you. I said, what is her name? What is 11's name? And you said her name's 11.
Sorry.
I
Wow.
meant her actress, the real actress.
I will say though, even if they were good actors or actresses, and it was an older character, say a 20-year-old, I probably wouldn't be as invested in it. I will say that.
Yeah.
I agree, actually.
I wouldn't really care for a 20-something-year-old just in danger all the time. Just
Yeah.
it'd be kind of
But then you're just a whiny teenager.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jerry has a point.
He has a small point. Jerry has a
Okay.
very tiny needlehead
Very
type.
needle.
Okay, well, we'll allow him that. So kids and TV shows, we care for them.
I think we've covered this point.
Oh, okay.
Well, we didn't
So-
cover the part
good.
of like the other kids and that aren't really. the
Okay,
main
so then we
kids.
have Mad Max. She's new to the scene, new to Hawkins. Are they in middle school? I'm assuming they were middle school.
think it's
They're in middle school.
They're new to Hawkins Middle School. You got Maxine. I
Her
guess
yet
that's her name.
unnamed brother. Is
What's her Maxine? Okay, so she is the Mad Max that was the top scorer in all the video games. And she has a brother who's super cool, pulls up in his Trans Am, but we don't know. We don't get much from him because the show's focusing on Maxine at the moment, Mad Max.
Max.
Thus, the name of the show of Season 2, Episode 1, Mad Max. As DJ said, it didn't need to be named that because she's not the point of the show. I don't really know. She may be later. She may be integral to the storyline, which we can assume that the writers know what they're talking about. So they named it Mad Max because she's going to be very much a part of these people's lives as the season goes on. And we are going to watch the season. Okay, I'm going to speak for myself. Me, my wife Gina, Sade, we like to watch this show. We like to get together once a week and watch an episode. It gives us something to look forward to, something to do, something to watch. We don't binge it all at once. So some of you may already know the conclusion of this season. If you do,
Very probably.
very probably. That's the way people of Netflix work these days. I understand. I do the same thing, but
I probably will.
we tend to take a show and make it a appointment program so that we say, okay, we're going to watch this once a week at this time. Gives us a reason to get together, enjoy the show, relax, have a good time. So overall, what did you think of it?
I thought it was a good starting point for the season. It didn't have. I mean, it had a lot of story in it, but it didn't have. I mean, there's lots of room for other storylines to branch off. I would say it gave a good start to everybody's different stories, different paths.
You have Paul Reiser, Aliens, being his typical alien self,
Definitely.
going after the new version of whatever the tentacles are that come in from what is it called again?
The Upside Down.
The Upside Down. I keep wanting to say
seriously?
Underworld. I keep wanting to say
Underworld Revolution,
That's
the
a whole different
vampires.
show. That's a whole different show.
Kate Beckinsale is not in this show.
Okay,
It's very
well,
sad, but she's not.
I wish I could use Kate Beckinsale in any show.
Yeah, I
She's
mean,
welcome in any show.
I would take her over Winona
She's
Ryder.
welcome in any show. Sade, is she welcome in your show? Do you know who Kate Beckinsale is?
Not particularly.
Do you know Underworld?
Yeah.
She's the main lady from Underworld.
The black hair.
Yeah. She's also from Pearl Harbor, which is Gina's favorite show. No, okay.
I didn't
Okay,
notice.
well, we get nothing from that. Okay, a little before your time. Okay.
No, I've seen Pearl Harbor,
Oh,
sort
you
of.
have?
I just never paid attention.
She's the main lady in Pearl Harbor.
Oh, she looks different.
Well, she's older. Although she hasn't aged.
She hasn't aged a bit.
She hasn't aged a bit.
Uh-uh.
Kudos to you, Kate Beckinsale.
Very good looking woman.
Okay. So, if I was to say the first episode picked up where it left off, it was good.
A year later.
And Stranger Things is it does have. Okay, we have nostalgia. I agree. It has nostalgia. I don't have a problem with that. I like nostalgia. It's fine. It's the 80s. I was a young person in the 80s, so it doesn't really affect me that much, but I remember them, so I go ahead, that's fine. But what I like is the music. I like the characters. The characters are all good. They're all pleasant. They all have good personalities. I like the cinematography. some of the overhead shots, the good music, the soundtrack as you have some of the overhead shots. Wheel seeing this alternate universe, the under what is it called?
Upside Down.
The Upside.
Have you watched season 1?
Why do I not remember that?
Every time the Upside Down is mentioned, we redline.
the Upside Down. So we have the Upside Down that Will sees something is coming. He has a vision of something coming as the season goes on. We don't know what. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like to point out again. When he was speaking to the Paul Reiser character about it, he said that he didn't want to kill him; he wanted to kill everybody else. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that there's something inside of him that's kind of holding that world together, keeping it with the regular world?
Okay, Paul Reiser asked him what?
He
was asking him why he was scared, and he said, "They didn't want to kill you," and he said, "Not me, everybody else."
They from the Upside Down?
Yeah, it said it.
You remember that?
Whatever
part?
that thing is.
The Demogorgon?
Well, the big monster he's seen.
He said it wants to kill everyone
Else.
But
it
him.
doesn't want to kill
He said,
him.
"Not me, everyone else."
Yeah, I did catch that turn of phrase where he said everyone else.
Did you catch it?
I did catch it.
I was thinking he did. I think he was on his phone at that
was like
point.
5
No.
minutes of me explaining.
I did catch it. I just didn't know how to exactly to phrase it all. So when he was in there, I understand what you're talking about. I don't know how to explain what I'm talking about. But I did understand that he was saying, like, whatever that was did want to kill everyone else, but not him.
Yeah.
What does that mean? He's linked
We don't know.
to the Upside Down. He's linked to, and so is 11. And so I don't know. I can sit here and I don't even have a theory. I literally have no theory. I don't know what's going on.
Just a bunch of speculating going on.
What's
And then
interesting is when I was watching the Stranger Things trailer, there was like a scene with 11 coming out of the Upside Down world.
We're looking into a portal, right?
Yeah.
In the school.
And she had bald hair, but this episode she had her hair.
That might just be a flashback.
Or a flashback. That's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, watch them flashbacks. They'll get you.
Yeah, that's right. So she came back. That is what happened.
That's when.
Sorry,
that's how,
guys. I just don't realize.
I can see that being where. What's the sheriff's name?
Hopper.
I can see that being where Hopper finally gets busted for sheltering 11, and then he has a flashback as to how he came upon her, and he's been taking care of her since season 1.
Yeah, that's probably a very legit theory there.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, that's been our discussion of Stranger Things season 2, episode 1. We'll probably discuss, at least me and Sade. Deej sounds like he's going to binge that rascal pretty quick.
I'll try not to. I'll try my hardest to just watch one episode at a time.
Okay.
It's hard.
Well,
it's so good.
We'll try.
Unless it's cold tomorrow, and then we build a blanket for it, and we binge watch it.
Oh my gosh.
It's a possibility.
Okay. It's going to be cold tomorrow, so that's probably
30
That's a
degrees.
possibility then.
Thanks for listening to us. We'll holler back at you next time. Thanks for listening to Disagreeable Nerd. I'm Gabi. This is my friend Deej.
Signing off.
And my friend Sade.
See ya.
So what if Star Wars Episode 8 is... It's entitled The Last Jedi, but what if...
It has nothing to do with The Last Jedi.
What if there's multiple Jedi?
But there's not.
But
Who's
what
gonna
if
be the
there
last
is?
Jedi?
We
Luke?
don't know. But there is
Luke?
only one.
Is Kylo a Jedi?
No.
What is he?
So far, he's not a Sith because, well, we don't know because we don't know if Snoke's a Sith. We just don't know
He's
at
a
this
Force
point.
user?
He's a Force user.
So we just say Force user and then I get qualified as
Yeah,
Jedi?
I would say a dark Jedi or a dark Force user.
So Jedi
Because originally they were just called Dark Jedi. There was no Sith until they found that planet.
Okay, so he
The
can
Sith
be the
home
last
Corbin.
Jedi.
Ooh.
So he's not necessarily Sith.
Correct. I mean, we don't know what Luke is,
Luke is good. Come on.
but I'm saying we don't know if he calls himself a Jedi. If he thinks of himself as that any longer
He just reads books in his dark cave all by himself.
on his
On
little
his lonely
planet.
island.
Yeah, with his little birds.